Hey runners, just another running coach here, and today we're going to talk about something a little different and a little exciting. Okay, very exciting for me. Since I started the channel, I've been making videos about some of the topics that I find fundamental to running, and there's still so much more ground to cover. But one thing I haven't done much of is give you a window into my own training and racing as an athlete. I don't plan on doing this too much because I really don't want this to turn into one of those vlogs. I really want to focus on making informational videos for you, but I do think it could be helpful in some ways to share how I put these things into practice. And even though I'm a coach and I've been running for over 10 years, I still go through the same ups and downs and pre-race jitters like anyone else. So this is also a fun way for me to get those feelings out of my system. All right, so this weekend I'll be racing for the first time since the start of the pandemic at the City Tri-Run's New York City Summer Half in Central Park. I did run the Achilles Hope and Possibility 4-mile race earlier this month as a guide, and I did do a virtual half back in March 2021, but this is going to be my first in-person race where I'm going for my own time. So I'm pretty darn excited to see what I can do and get back out there and have some fun. Plus, I've got some friends running this race, including a first-time half marathoner. You know who you are, so I'm also really excited to see them crush it as well. Now, even though it's been a while since I've run a race and I'm not super sure what to expect from myself, I'm still going to use the same goal-setting practices I would normally use. And if you had a chance to watch my video about goal setting, you'll know that I like to set 3 goals for every race: a doable goal, a primary goal, and a stretch goal. Before I get into what those are for this race, I want to walk you through my thought process when I'm setting these goals, and then I'll reveal them at the end. Gotta hold you in suspense a little bit. I always try to take 3 things into consideration: my current level, race day considerations like the course and what the weather will be like, and my long-term hopes and dreams, because it's important to look ahead. So a little bit of context for you. The half marathon is my favorite distance, and this is actually going to be my 21st half marathon race. My current best time is 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 8 seconds, which I set my last half all the way back in January 2020, but that feels like such a long time ago now, and a lot has happened since then. Initially, my training during the pandemic was going pretty strong, but in June of last year, I needed to have surgery for my Crohn's disease, and while I feel 1,000% better in my everyday quality of life, it did mean I had to take a short break from running, and it did take me some time until I felt comfortable doing speed workouts again. So there was that, and there was also just the general lack of motivation to train when there weren't any races to train for. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. So I don't necessarily think I'm in PR shape right now, but the good news is that I was able to put in a solid 16 weeks of training specifically for this half. So I do feel pretty prepared for it, and based on the workouts I've been doing, I do feel like I have a pretty good idea of what I'm capable of right now. I would be lying if I told you I wasn't secretly hoping I'd be in PR shape by now, and I have surprised myself in the past, but I just gotta be real, I'm not quite there, and fortunately I came to accept that a few weeks ago, so I was able to narrow my focus more on more realistic time goals. Another reason why I won't be going for a PR is because it's gonna be hot out there. It's August, the race starts at 9 a.m., which means a lot of the Central Park Loop is gonna be bathed in sunlight right from the get-go, and it's only gonna get hotter over the next hour. And for those who don't know, Central Park can be a little hilly. If we take a quick look at the course map, it looks like we have 3 rounds of Cat Hill on the east side and 2 rounds of Harlem Hill on the north side. So not super fun. I have a little bit of experience with this kind of course. Obviously, I run in Central Park all the time, but honestly, if it hits 85 or above, I'm probably just going to throw time goals out the window completely and just call it a long run, because trying to race in that kind of heat and humidity, it's not only really tough and kind of dangerous, but that kind of effort will probably take me out of commission for at least a couple of weeks. And that brings me to my last consideration, actually, long-term goals. I'm super excited to be able to say I will be running the 50th New York City Marathon this year. It'll be my 8th official New York City, and usually August is a really important month of training and building up those long runs. So I really don't want to trash my legs too badly here, especially because I do want to aim for a PR in November. We'll come back to that in a couple months. One day I would like to be able to run more PRs in the half, and I would really love to break 1:15 someday, but getting through this race relatively unscathed is going to help me continue my journey toward these long-term goals. So, taking all of that into consideration, here are my 3 goals for this race. My doable goal is to have fun and not blow up. I want to be able to enjoy the moment of being out there with friends without stressing too much about my finishing time, and I definitely don't want to go out too fast and hit the wall unnecessarily. Even if I don't make my other goals, I'm still going to be pretty happy as long as I finish feeling strong. My primary goal is to run it in under an hour 22, and my stretch goal is to run it in under an hour 20. The reason why my primary goal is an hour 22 is because that's about the time I ran the virtual New York City half back in March this year. So if I can hit that time under harder conditions while still feeling pretty good, I'll know I'm making good progress and I'm on track for my larger New York City Marathon goal. It'll also leave me within 5 minutes of my best time, which is a bigger time difference than it sounds like. But again, given the tougher conditions, I'll be pretty happy with that. As for the stretch goal of sub 120, it's definitely more ambitious, but I do think it could be reachable if it turns out to be a cooler day, or if I'm just feeling really great and I do a perfect job of pacing myself. But I'm not counting on it, and I won't be bummed out if I don't have it in me on Sunday. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to overthink this one too much since it's just my first race back, but I do hope you'll wish me luck, and if you're curious to hear how it goes, stay tuned because I'll also be doing a post-race reflection video. I hope hearing my thought process was helpful, and of course, if you've got races coming up like the New York City Marathon or even a local 5K, and you're interested in one-on-one coaching and race strategy and goal setting, feel free to reach out. Until then, happy running.